Look, YouTube, and welcome back to a video with me, Rams fan YT. We are doing a live watch along, a very late one. I'll try not to speak too loudly for fear of waking up the rest of my house. But yes, it is Ivory Coast versus Ecuador in Group E. I think both of these two teams quite possibly could be considered outside dark horses. We're going to go quickly to the lineups because we've not got long till kickoff actually in this game here. For the Ivory Coast, a traditional 4-4-2 is how they are lining up. In goal, we've got Fofana, back four of Conan, Agbadu, Singo, and Dewey. The midfield four is Torre. It's that Bazumana Torre, who played for Hoffenheim, I think. Kessie, who is the captain, another Fofana in midfield, and Diamonde, and a top two of Wahi and Nicolas Pepe, obviously used to play for Arsenal. In terms of for Ecuador, they're going to 3-4-3. Galindez in goal, Ordonez, Pacho, and Hincapi. I recognise the name Hincapi as he is also an Arsenal player. And they make up the back three. The midfield four, Aminda, Franco, Moises Caicedo, a lot of people will be looking at here, and Vite, formerly of Brighton and now at Chelsea, Moises Caicedo. And a front three of Plata, Valencia, who is the captain, and Yeboah. Some standout names on the bench. I don't know how many people will know either team's bench, but maybe Estupinan and Anthony Valencia. What a blast from the past that name is. And Kevin Rodriguez as well. Three players making up the bench for Ecuador you may have heard of. I wonder if Anjuan Boni is any relation to Wilfred Boni. Ahmed Diallo is on the bench for Manchester United player for Côte d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast. So some interesting choices in terms of starting lineup in this game here. But yes, we have got two potential dark horses for this World Cup Group E match. It is being played at the Lincoln Financial Field. I'm trying to remember who are the other two teams in their group. Was it Japan versus Netherlands? Are they in the group? Quite possibly. I may have to Google it, but yes, in this position here, we are not that long before kickoff here. Teams are just Germany and Curacao 7-1 earlier on today. Curacao making history, scoring a goal, first goal at the finals of the World Cup, especially against that Germany team. That's a bit of a surprise that they've managed to concede a goal, although it was a battering at 7-1 in the end. I think Germany probably favourites to win the group, but Ecuador and Ivory Coast could quite feasibly both qualify for the knockouts, especially with these third place teams. So you can imagine the Ivory Coast getting Ecuador getting a healthy goal difference against Curacao. And if this game ends in a draw, 4 points, I would definitely say, sees them. All the match officials are from France for this one. The VAR room has Jared Gillett from England, a Frenchman, and a Belgian man. So all European in your positions here. We're going to quickly run through the Ivory Coast lineup again. Fofana in goal, Conan, Agbadu, Singo, Dewey, Diomande, Seko Fofana, who's a number 6, captain Kessie, Nicolas Pepe. There are a lot of expectations on him today, I imagine. Bazumuna Torre and Elvi Wahi. Obviously, Côte d'Ivoire are known for the Torres. Yaya and Kolo Torre in the past, I believe, used to play for them. Ecuador have Hernan Galindez in goal, Hincapi, Pacho and Ordonez making up a back three. A midfield four, Vite, Casado, and Franco, and Minda, and a front three of Viboa somehow on the left wing, Enner Valencia up top as captain, and Plata is the right winger. I'm not sure why the number 9, Zamora, will be on the left-hand side. You normally expect number 9 to be a bit more of an attacking player, don't you? But not in the case for this one at all. There's a lot of empty seats. I can see from the drone footage before kickoff, and there are numerous empty seats in that stadium. It has been made attention of already this World Cup. A lot of the things come down to the prices of tickets. These two countries are not the richest countries in the world, but I can tell you for a matter of fact, both of these two countries are huge fans of national football teams. Ecuador, I think we will probably expect to be maybe favourites, a few more players in their lineup that we have come to know grace in the Premier League. But I feel like it could be quite an even game in this one. The teams are just getting into their huddles as we speak. Hincapi, certainly someone I'll be looking at for this one, and Moises Caicedo for the Ecuador team, which are playing almost in France level colours. Maybe their yellow is considered too much of a clash with Ivory Coast, who are in orange head to toe. Very well known for playing in orange. Them and the Netherlands are probably the two nations most well known for their orange kits. We will be kicked off by Ecuador in this one. They will be playing right to left in this one. For some reason, I think it's because Côte d'Ivoire is considered before Ecuador in the alphabet, isn't it? Matt will explain it. And we are kicking off, and it goes all the way back to goalkeeper. Well, at least it's better than trying to pump it downfield and immediately getting a set piece, which we saw a couple of times yesterday. Ecuador already early doors on the offensive. Hincapi on the left-hand side will make a run, and he will win his team a free kick. No, says the referee, it will be a goal kick instead. There were certainly shouts for one. Hincapi was convinced he was blocked off from getting around the player. Not too convinced myself. It will be with the goalkeeper for the Ivory Coast, one of the two Fofanas, who goes long but doesn't find the target. Well, the target and lost the aerial duel, to be honest, with you. And it's with the Ecuador defensive back three, playing a 3-4-3 formation. Not many teams this World Cup have played that formation, but it has been demonstrated before to great effect, especially notable with the Italian squad historically. Moises Caicedo, no, that's not Moises Caicedo. They've got two players with dyed hair, which is the same, but it's a free kick for Ecuador on the near side here. It was the camera was just panning as the foul was made. Bakashi is the Ecuadorian coach. I don't know a lot about him, I'm going to be brutally honest. The set piece doesn't really matter. It's on with the far right-hand side instead. And Ecuador have a chance here. It's laid off. Moises Caicedo with a shot and dragged just wide in the end by the Chelsea midfielder. Came most notably on the seam at Brighton. And that's not a bad effort, but it's curled wide in the end. He's a decent player, probably the most best player on the pitch for this game. And they were searching for a quick counter-attack, the Ivory Coast, but unfortunately didn't come to them, with Emerse Faye being the coach. He's wearing a cap. Well, Fofana, the goalkeeper, that is, for the Ivory Coast, just booted it far out of field. A very, very poor distribution from him, I must say. A throw-in's taken by Ecuador. Moises Caicedo wins it, and Ecuador has a chance to utilise a bit of wing play here. But number 14 has it right now, who cuts inside, but the Ivory Coast will come away with it, and chance for an attack of their own maybe, but sliced out quite early on. There's always 3 or 4 players around. That's surely going to be a foul. The referee running straight over there, trying to sort out any problems before it emerges. Kessie is the captain, who was the one who was running away with the ball after the whistle was blown. I think Valencia, the captain for Ecuador, was also protesting. Yeah, it's just a push down on the floor by the number 5 against the number 19. Kessie also pushed on the floor of Valencia. I'm not sure which one he was blown up for there, but 2 fouls in quite close succession. But Ecuador either way with a set piece. Working their way back. We're at Philadelphia here for this game. Philadelphia Union, one of the more traditional teams maybe in the MLS. But ultimately, not a lot to write home of over the last few years, I would suggest. A long lifted ball forward, which Caicedo will get the seconds of, but has had to run all the way back to his defensive team mates in this one. Not Caicedo, sorry, Valencia. 2 identically dyed hair and similar hairstyle is not helpful for a game of this stature. But number 5 for Cote d'Ivoire gets it. And some great working out, and that will be a throw in for the Ivory Coast. It comes off the number 19 for Ecuador. He was the last player to touch it. And a throw in to be taken by the Ivory Coast. I think they're going to go long here. And they have. Doesn't find the man though. But that is a poor ball. And the Ivory Coast will come away with it. And they're on at the near-hand side with the number 11. Powering it down at the moment. And a lot of the time, I think this is quite an even game, to be honest. I can't really tell you. I think Valencia maybe... not Valencia, sorry. Ecuador, led by their captain Valencia, who just had the ball there, will be the favourites and probably dominating this opening half slightly. A nice 1-2 interchange there. It's back. It's into central into midfield, but a slow ball has seen Ivory Coast easily be able to get that under control. Making sure that everyone has the ball. It's back with a defensive line who is very rapid, that centre-back. You don't often see fast centre-backs, but certainly is the case with the Ivory Coast. Long gone are the days of the Arthur Boca being defenders for the Ivory Coast. And your Colo Torre, I think, was at one point as well. On the right-hand side, it is with the Ivory Coast. Not a lot of quality, maybe gracing this team. Nicolas Pepe being the obvious exception. Although his hype has sort of faded away. That's a great through ball, but it can't quite find the target. I thought that was going to be an excellent opportunity for a quick break there by the Ivory Coast, but it wasn't. In the midfield with Caicedo, who will play it short. And a tricky run, actually, but ultimately did a bit too much, maybe. And that will be a free kick with Valencia giving it away up against the captain for the Ivory Coast, the number 8. But yes, a fascinating opening 7 minutes or so. Not quite as high intensity as the Brazil versus Morocco one we saw yesterday, but I certainly think there is a bit of high intensity to this game. in Pennsylvania. A long ball searching forwards, and Ivory Coast do have it actually, and they still come away with it. It's out wide with a number 11. Used a bit of tricky feet, but a bit too much, and the Ecuador team can collect and go out for a throw in. But I don't mind that for Yandu Amane, the number 11. Thought he did some couple of great runs actually already in this game, a real threat. But yes, it's a Ecuador throw-in, and it will be taken by Hincapi. It's taken long, and he'll get another throw-in because of it. Further up the pitch this time. He's opted to go for a bit of a shorter one this time, and Ecuador are unable to come away with it in a bit of a tussle. But they've got possession back now on the other side of the pitch. Not a lot of options ahead of him, and they've had to slow the tempo down and recycle possession. At the times, they're playing with a flat back four, Ecuador, but they're a very fluid team, almost a back five at times, I would imagine, actually. I couldn't quite see who the left back was, but I imagine Hincapi will also return. The number 3 for the Ivory Coast is the one taking the throw-ins here. He's being told exactly where to stand for this. It's longer than 5 seconds. Surely it's going to switch over to teams, but it doesn't matter because the throw-in is eventually taken. And it is going all the way through to the Ecuador defence. Content to just soak up play at the moment, trying to survey their options a bit. The traditional 4-4-2 is sometimes a 4-3-3 if one of the wingers, makes an overlapping run, and that could potentially overpower Ecuador's fairly light defence. Actually, at times, it could very much be cut open. And great cross by Hincapi, and it finds Valencia, who shoots, and it goes over the bar. The captain for Ecuador, Ene Valencia. That was close. I think he should be getting at least on target there, though, to be honest. He's in a fantastic position. Hincapi's whipped in a wonderful cross. His marker's fallen on the floor, and he should be getting on target, if I'm going to be honest. He's let one fly. He's taken a touch of control, another touch, and then it's just gone over the bar. It's a matter of inches over, to be honest, but I think he should be challenging the goalkeeper, probably even getting a goal in that position. He's a one-on-one with the goalkeeper at that point. I think Valencia will be disappointed with himself that he hasn't made the net bulge in that position, or at least challenge the goalkeeper. But our first real clear-cut chance has fallen Ecuador's way. And we have, there's a hefty press coming on from the Ivory Coast now. So it is cleared downfield by Ecuador. Hincapi will pick it up. And Valencia very cheap in the possession there, giving it away. Very rigid formation, actually, Valencia. It's not, what's the name, Valencia? Ecuador. You can tell it's like, can't you? Ecuador's men have sort of been employing, especially off the ball. They drop a fair few players further back, and it almost goes to a 2-3-5. That was a interesting move. I'm not sure what the Torre was trying to do in that position, but he's got himself a throw-in for the Ecuadorian team by doing so. He sort of just flipped the ball over his head and hoped he'd ended up with someone. Didn't, and ended up out of play. Moises Caicedo had the ball for a matter of moments, and he had a decent chance as well early stages of this game, which went just wide. All really been so far Ecuador in terms of clear-cut chances, but that doesn't mean that the Ivory Coast haven't been threatening in certain positions. And I mean, it's just a bit of passing around at the moment between the defensive line. A progressive run forward by Moises Caicedo, and there's a chance here for a run through, but the Ivory Coast come back defensively quite well. But Ecuador managed to regain possession. It's a 4 versus 3. It's a long-range speculative shot, high and wide by Zamora. Ultimately, the number 9, who is actually playing as a winger. He's tried to cut in field there, and he's just let one fly, and she's just gone actually over the bar. I think it was slightly lower. He probably would have challenged the goalkeeper much more, who was firmly rooted to the ground, actually, for Varna. So potentially could have maybe, again, need to make it work a bit more, shot on target or so. At the moment, though, I think Ecuador will be happy just to be getting chances off, ultimately. Although the Ivory Coast currently have possession in their own defensive half. But it's all working well as a team at times. It's a very even game. It's just the final third action has been much more impressive by Ecuador at the moment. The Ivory Coast struggling to get a hold of the ball when they enter the final third. Ecuador very rigid in that 4-3-4-3, making sure that every man is picked up. But they'll come out on the right, and it's swung in field to Pepe, I believe it is. But it will run all the way back to the defensive line. That's not positive play, in my opinion. But my opinion ultimately counts for very little in this game. A switch of play, but too much pace on the ball sees possession shift to Ecuador. And the goalkeeper for Ecuador will hoof it up. An aerial mismatch has seen Ivory Coast come away with it here. And another chance. I think it's Pepe, actually. Still got the ball. And a great opportunity. The number 11 for Ecuador. Again, for the Ivory Coast, who's made some impressive runs already. It's a shot through a crowd, and it's ultimately cleared away. Valencia does actually have a chance for a counter-attack here, but he doesn't manage to get it under control. And yet again, the Ivory Coast will attack with the number 11. Yadiba or something. The cross comes in. Ultimately not that great of one. And the Ivory Coast will have to go back, and that's given away cheaply their possession. And a counter could be potentially coming on here, but Valencia can't quite get there. The recovering centre-back for the Ivory Coast has done a great job. And Fofana will hoof it upfield. A bit of moments of danger and lack of concentration there caused potentially a warning sign for Ecuador. They've already possessed quite a nice counter, but the Ivory Coast are on attack here. Oh, dragged just wide. That was not very far at all. There's protests about maybe a corner. I don't think so. It was a very good effort, though. A wonderful switch in play. And I've got pace for days. It came out to the number 24 for the Ivory Coast. And it did get the fingertips, actually. It did brush the fingertips by the looks of it of Ecuador's goalkeeper. It didn't look initially that it did, but it's been given a goal kick for Ecuador ultimately. And it's taken and it's gone long downfield. This would be great if you can get to it. Any of Valencia with it. No, it's not Valencia. It's number 14. You've got to take them shots on first time. He's just done too much, and this game has really opened up quite expansive play all round, to be honest, because Ivory Coast will be progressing themselves into the Ecuadorian penalty area, really. Proper end-to-end stuff at the moment. 1-2 there. It's gone out to the number 11, who I probably so far would say he's been man of the match. A cross comes in, but the shot's gone straight into the arms of Ecuador's goalkeeper. wasn't great shot really by Wahi. He hasn't challenged the goalkeeper at all. It's just gone straight to him. Admittedly, Wahi did have his back to goal before he made that shot, so he couldn't possibly have known where the goalkeeper was. But it is still level, with Ivory Coast actually growing into this game from about the last 8 minutes or so, with some amazing bursts of pace, such as this one, where number 11's done it, and it is headed behind for a throw-in. Yao Demare, what a player. He had almost had the assist for the perfect goal, but Wahi couldn't quite get the shot on target. It's going to be a corner by the looks of it, actually, for the Ivory Coast. I thought it went out for maybe a throw-in. Nicolas Pepe to take it. See if he's learnt much from his Arsenal days, eh? He had that absolutely one wonder season, I think we all remember. I think it was about 2022. And then it's just sort of been very quiet since, and nothing's really come out from him. Nicolas Pepe takes it. He lifts it up. It is well cleared by Ecuador. There is a man down injured as a result of that. That might even be Caicedo, actually. Yes, it is Moises Caicedo who's on the floor, but he's up. There seems to be a bit of a tussle, and all the Ecuadorian players are surrounding the referee. Don't know what they're necessarily asking for, and it doesn't look like much contact. I'll see it on that replay. Oh, now, yeah, he has made contact with number 5 for the Ivory Coast. And Enner Valencia is going and explaining how he was convinced Moises Caicedo got fouled. And why they've had to dye their hair and have the exact same haircut is beyond me. But Moises Caicedo is limping off, you know. The rules is if a player is stopped, you have to go off and then get called back on, even though no medical assistant was needed. It is what it is, you know. Stops feigning of injuries, really. Number 11 for Ivory Coast again. I mean, he has got to be in a great... Every time I've seen him get the ball, he just runs at defenders and gets great positioning and great passing. There's a lot about him that is much to be admired. The Ivory Coast is only a bit of spell of possession, to be fair, for about the last 10 minutes. Ecuador haven't really gotten near him. It was all Ecuador really in the opening stages for great chances, but for the last 10 minutes now, everybody, I mean, Moises Caicedo is screaming, why is he not being called on? He's now finally allowed to be called on. Absolutely ridiculous. He was off on the side for a solid, minute and a half, 2 minutes. That's ridiculous. The referee sort of just forgot about him completely. The cross comes in by number 11, but Ecuador gets it, but it comes back again, and they have another chance to recycle possession with the number 17 for the Ivory Coast this time, but it's poor. Is this Valencia? And there's a bit of a shirt pulling against Valencia. He's just lashed out a bit. He needs to keep his head nice and calm at the moment. He was not happy about that at all. And he is being told to calm down by the referee. But I do think Singbo definitely should have done a foul in that position. But yeah, Valencia's just pushed him as soon as he's stopped. The players stopped going all around him. The referee seems to be losing a bit of control of this game in the last couple of minutes as well. If you're the Ecuadorian persuasion, you would certainly say so. But still 0-0, about 22 minutes in. So it's been an entertaining game, though. Hard to pick a winner, though. I will say that. Hincapié takes the free kick. goes all the way back to the Ecuadorian goalkeeper. I think I used to have a match attack of the Ecuadorian goalkeeper in 2014. Don't think it's the same lad. There's been a lot of years between the two tournaments now. And Ecuador have managed to come away with it and let fly, and it's rattled the crossbar. Great effort. It has come back to the Ecuadorian side, though. They've got Moises Caicedo doing some great interlinking play at the moment. That was probably our closest chance to a goal. Just rattled the crossbar. And Moises Caicedo has it again. We'll see a replay when this attacking phase is over, I imagine. Another shot, this time dragged just wide by the number 14 for Ecuador. It was Minda who was the one with a shot there, which was just wide. And we're further hydration break. We've had some great play, though, very early on in this stage. During this break, it's an opportunity for Moises Caicedo saw to point out to several of the fouls that has already been committed against him. They're very much trying to mark him out the game. We did mark him as maybe the standout player for this game, full stop, to be honest. You can kind of see why you would want to maybe mark him out as a potential threat. But yeah, I think it's been quite an even game, maybe just on the balance of play. Ecuador, I don't think Ivory Coast centre-backs have managed to deal with them at the moment. But yeah, Diomande, certainly for me, one of the better players on the pitch, if not the best player on the pitch at the moment. Although there has been some, so far, quite decent displays in midfield for Ecuador, I will also say that. No comments to go through at the moment. I've just got some of the highlights going on at the moment, and that shot dragged just wide just before the hydration break. It's unfortunate because moments before that they rattled the crossbar, did Ecuador, and certainly I don't think Ecuador have been bad at the moment. I can't really think either team needs to improve that much. I don't know much tactical advice which should necessarily be given other than carry on doing what you're doing. Stop giving away possession so cheaply, I suppose, would be one, but can't complain too much. It's been a very even game. Like two sides, but probably roughly evenly rated as well. Nicolas Pepe, though, I think has been quite quiet this game so far. We pointed him out before the match for the Ivory Coast as being potentially their strong point. I don't think he really has had to, or hasn't done that much at the moment. It's mainly been the likes of Dewey and the number 11, who I keep on forgetting the name of. It's like Diabadi or something or another. It was, let me get tab back up. Yeah, Diomande, who has been the two. We are about to get back underway after this hydration break. Very sort of open top stadium, this one. It's just sort of carries on going out. Some of them, you have a bit of curve at the top. There's no such curve or roofing on this stadium. That's how you kind of can tell that we're in the Americas, realistically. Ivory Coast will get us underway. It's gone pumped downfield, and they will come away with this here, actually. And that looked like a foul and a shove in the back, but no, play on, says the ref. Not much of a meal made of it, to be honest, so maybe there wasn't actually that much in it. I can't quite get it into feet, and Ecuador will come away with it as a result. That's a hefty body slam, although I think the reaction slightly overblown, and the referees brought that and made the first yellow card of the game. Is that towards Torre? It's for number 6. We need to see that again. Oh, he has just absolutely no way getting the player there at all. Moises Caicedo's just gone absolutely flying. Well, Moises Caicedo did say at the break, look, they're just cynically fouling me at this point. And that there's no more prime example as Seko Fofana. It is the other Fofana on the pitch other than goalkeeper. There's 2 Fofanas for this team who's just absolutely body slammed Caicedo. No need for that at all. Clearly marked as a very strong talent from the offing. A couple of the Ecuadorian players were with Brighton. Estepinian's on the bench as well, previously with the Seagulls. And Chance it's in defence at the moment with Ecuador. And they're utilising the wing play. Slow down a bit already here. They're just sort of, sometimes you just have to take a bit of time. That's a great through ball though. And Ecuador can break using some Minder on the wings. It comes in, but it's claimed into the grateful hands of Fofana. Wasn't the greatest cross in the wall by Minder, but a great run nevertheless. Moises Caicedo's managed to put in a tackle. It's Valencia who's gone with a 1-2. But it's so lucky that Caicedo's there because it was sort of just let to run. Minder comes, rattles the crossbar again. How many chances are Ecuador going to get? And again, hitting the crossbar. They've been quite unfortunate in a sense. They'll have another attack here, leaving it out with all in the box here. There's a crowd of orange. But somehow Ecuador still have possession. A shot comes in and it's well wide in the end. They're getting closer. They're getting much, much closer to Ecuador. Completely onside Minder for the time he rattled the crossbar. I thought it was an excellent effort all round. I thought it might have even gone in, but it looks like they're doing a crossbar challenge at the moment at half an hour in. It's 0-0. That twice Ecuador have hit the crossbar. An aerial duel is won by Hincapi. And it is going to be within the midfield. Opted to go right, have Ecuador, but they're constantly switching play, making Ivory Coast move and see who can get them. It's flicked on, but flicked on to absolutely no one. That's some of the bizarrities that we do see in football, to be honest. Hincapi trying to flick it onto someone and not getting anywhere. He's thrown it to his number 15, who's passed it back to his number 6. I can honestly say I wish I knew the squads a bit more, but I kind of base it on the numbers. And when I see the text and see if I remember them, it's not the most professional in the world, I will say, though. That looked like a free kick potentially, but absolutely not, says the ref. I mean, look, I think, are we going to see a replay for that decision? Because it looked like he was potentially through on goal even. Fofana to take this kick long downfield. It's flicked round quite nicely. Pepe's got it now. He's lost possession though to Hincapi, who has it now. He opts to go short to his defensive partners. And the Ivory Coast will come away with this, actually. A little bit extravagant there, Pepe. I don't think he needed to do that overly, but showing he's still got a little bit of quality to him. I really don't know. I don't think he plays for Arsenal anymore. I can't remember for the life of me who he does play for. Some great opportunities, but that was all wrong for Seko Fofana, who should absolutely skied it into Rosette. for the Ivory Coast from a shot. That is what you call a centre-back shot, everybody. Someone who's clearly not that used to shooting. And it will be a goal kick. And Cappy's got it now. He's gone lifted downfield. The header away is poor by the Ivory Coast, and Valencia will have this in an attacking position for Ecuador. A lot of cross-field balls at the moment. Been quite impressed by number 15 at midfield. 4 attempts on goal for Ecuador. For Ivory Coast, 6 for Ecuador. 1 on target. Has only been 1 all game, and that's been for the Ivory Coast, where it was straight at the goalkeeper. Although twice have Ecuador hit the crossbar, which is quite unfortunate, really. The stats do point to quite an even game, I would suggest. But I'd be interested to see, attacking momentum-wise as well, who comes out on top of that at half-time as well. 33 minutes in, 0-0, and I could really not tell you at the moment. Hincapi's got it on the near side. He's gone and flicked it forward. It's going to be with, I think that's Minda potentially. The cross comes in, but it's a poor one, and Sesco Fofana clears it. Wing play yet again, showing that Ivory Coast are greater, and the pace of a number 11 has been great. It's a great cross ball, of searching recovery defence. Number 24 can't quite get it, and that will be a goal kick as a result. Nicolas Pepe, I think it was, who had his shot blocked. But all the work so far has been doing the runs by the wingers at the moment, and definitely for me, presenting some strong opportunities. Nicolas Pepe, maybe if he took that first time instead of taking a touch, but it's a wonderful recovering block by the number 21, actually. You can't take it away from him. That's putting your body in the line. That's where it counts. And that's why you earn your books as a centre-back. It's as you were then, 0-0. Nicolas Pepe finally coming into the game a bit. He had a bit of an absence starting 20 minutes, but he's grown in the last 15 or so. It's with the Ecuadorian defence. Content to just keep the ball at the moment. Don't do anything stupid. It must be the message ringing from the manager's ears, or in the players' ears from the manager, rather. And they are being very conservative with the ball at the moment. A lot of defensive passing. It's actually with the Ecuadorian goalkeeper, who opts to go really far down the field. Headed by Sesco Fofana. A bit of a silly move, that, to be honest. A free kick has been given. I think Dewey was the one who went down. Who has also had quite a good opening half. There's a bit of a wing back almost role, I want to say, as that left back, or right back rather. Get the left and right from the way around. Goalkeeper Fofana takes a quick punt downfield, but comes away, and Moises Caicedo's got it now, who opts to go back to his defenders. He's often dropping quite deep, Moises Caicedo. Proper box-to-box role. If you wanted a box-to-box midfielder, he's your man. Surely bundled over. Yeah, it's a free kick. That was not great. I was not overly impressed with that decision at all. Minda just been shoved over there by, I think, Dewey. Yeah, it was Dewey. He's just gone and pushed him like that. And there's no need for that in the game, you know. That I think stuff like that should be booked, and we'll see it disappearing fairly quickly. Because there's no need to just run into the back of someone and push them. I mean, it wasn't in a threatening area at all. If it was, maybe would have seen a yellow, but alas, we've not. Moises Caicedo with it and opts to go out to his right. And quite a lot of play is being played in the Ecuadorian half. actually, for the last decent amount of time. Ecuador struggling. That will be a free kick and another yellow card brandished by the referee. This time for the Ivory Coast captain, Kessie. I think it is. Let's see the replay. He's just gone through the back of a player, hasn't he? No need for that. Hincapi being decked on the floor. He's not got a ball at all. He's gone and stepped on his foot, actually. Oh, yeah. Yellow card, right decision. The manager for the Ivory Coast can't believe it, but Frank Chessy on a yellow card. I suspected we may have seen a fair few yellow cards in this game. Both of these two teams love a bit of physicality. Ecuador may be a fair few people's dark horses, possibly. I could certainly see the logic behind it. But on the basis of today's game, a very evenly matched game all around. And again, I could also see the Ivory Coast possibly. To be fair, both of these two teams, if they get a draw, I would suggest both of them then duly qualify. Because I doubt Curacao will provide too much of a problem of an opposition. Germany, maybe, but 4 points is almost guaranteed to get you a position in the next round. And Valencia is rolling, and rolling. This is more like a Neymar level roll than I've ever seen in my life. The person who actually committed the foul, the number 17, is profusely apologising. It's Dewey. He's just gone and absolutely clamped him in the back. I mean, it's an overreaction, certainly, for that position, but it should be a free kick nevertheless. And he'll probably get a yellow card here, Dewey. And he has. Again, an unnecessary challenge. When you've got, if the player's in front of the ball, you don't just go charging into the back of them. Will we see actually another African nation in the Ivory Coast end the pitch with 11 men? I don't know at the moment. It's hard to tell. But I really could see them getting a player sent off if they're carrying on giving as many free kicks and yellow cards. It tackles away as the moment. So a dangerous position here for Ecuador to whip in a free kick 40 minutes in. Still 0-0 at the moment. Number 19 to take it. It's crossed in. That's a great cross, but it's headed ultimately over by, I think it was Valencia there. It was a decent cross, to be fair. He's got a mean whip of a cross on him, has that number 19. And everything really, just couldn't get his head under it and on target. And the Ivory Coast can breathe. Enner Valencia, a very decent chance there if he could just get it on target, which has sort of been summing up this sort of almost opening half for Ecuador at the moment. They can't quite get it on target. Dewey in a tussle with Valencia, and it's a duel that ultimately Ecuador will win. But that there's a possibility of a foul there, but the ref hasn't seen it, and Ecuador will now attack. They've got it with Moises Caicedo in the final third, just about to progress into the final third, really there. But they opt to go safe in the end and slowly build the ball and the play all the way back. It's with Hincapi on this near side. The ball's just let to be run all the way across to the other side of the pitch, which I'm not loving. Ecuador with a chance here, and they've got a throw in. Quite a good position here, actually, almost in line with the penalty area. No, they've gone with a conservative throw. A long throw there. Like, either don't have a long throw in their locker, or they just don't like doing long throws. because I think long throw there would have definitely challenged towards the goal. But it wasn't opted for. We do keep on seeing Ecuador frequently oscillating with almost 4 or 5 at the back at times, and then 3 out of possession. But even though they're currently in possession, they're having a few players come back and cover for them. A lovely 1-2. Nicolas Pepe with it now. He's got a lot of players around him. He's managed to win his team a throw-in, though. Very good work by that regard all round, to be honest. Dewey will take this throw-in. He's gone very conservative all the way back to his centre-back, number 5. But has received a return. Nicolas Pepe trying to be a bit clever there. But there's no one to be clever to. You're not playing at Arsenal now, mate. You're playing for the Ivory Coast national team. And that sort of pass is just not going to be read by a lot of your teammates, I'm afraid to say. Right, slowing down at the end of this half by Ecuador, which maybe I think they might be content to go in with it being 0-0. They've got the stronger of the 2 benches, definitely, in my opinion. They're coming through on the right. There's definitely a chance here to get a cross in as well. Moises Caicedo in field. Well, Minder's done not a great job there, and Ecuador can come on counter, but it's intercepted relatively easily. Moises Caicedo has it. But that's an unlucky deflection, and the Ivory Coast will come away with it. That's a beautifully lifted ball there. Potential chance on a cross. I think the cross to Nicolas Pepe maybe been better there. The shot was opted in the end. Well saved. 4 minutes of stoppage time at the end of this first period of game, which has been very end-to-end enthralling stuff, ultimately. I would have definitely gone across for Nicolas Pepe in that position, though. And I think if I'm Pepe, I'm fuming. I've not had the ball. I'm running into the penalty area and ditched all my runners as well. Left them for dust. The pace is significantly an aspect that goes in Ivory Coast's favour at the moment. They can get on a good counter-attack. And they've come away with the ball again here. Cesco Fofana. Great run forward by the player. Dewey's got it now. He's opting to use his number 11, Duimande. I've been very, very impressed with this so far this half. He's run into the area, tried a crossing, and he's won his team a corner. Great work there. Minder was recovering centre-back or defender. He's not naturally a defender. We're seeing earlier there that beautiful control ball by the number 24. Just couldn't get across. I don't think it was actually Pepe who was the target for that, actually, potentially. It could have been Wadi, I think it is, the number 12. But a corner opportunity here. Pepe to take it. Second corner for the Ivory Coast. We know he's got a great delivery. It's floated in, but not great. But the Ivory Coast will get a second chance to go with this here. Nicolas Pepe has it on the near side. The ball is lifted in by Dewey. An overhead kick, which is just over the bar. But number 5 with an overhead kick. Have you ever seen a defender score from an overhead kick? I'm not too sure. But that was certainly athletic. Impressive if that came off, it must be said. But it was never going to challenge the goalkeeper, to be honest. It was miles off. But he's tried to get himself, a Puskás awarding winning goal, or certainly the goal of a tournament. A chance here, Nicolas Pepe rotating. Will that be a corner? That'll be a goal kick. But yeah, Nicolas Pepe not with a too bad chance there, actually. but Wahi got him away. Again, the Ivory Coast demonstrating the ability to just cool and calm in collecting the ball and just pressing a counter-attack. But yeah, yet again, can't quite press home that advantage. Nicolas Pepe in a bit of a duel in midfield. He's had to be helped out by his teammates. There's a player, Zach Casado's gone sprawling on the floor there, who's won his team a free kick. Diamande was one with the ball. I can't quite... Was it again? It might have even been the captain again. Frank Somonise. I can't remember what his first bit of his... The first letter of the surname is. That the Ivory Coast manager just needs to calm down. He might get booked this game. A free kicks taken. This will be the last sort of thing of this game, I imagine. It's hooked up in the air, and that is half time. An enthralling first half, if not any goals mouth action, to be honest, but it's been a very even game all round, and we've not been shy of chances, although very few on target. 6.65 for the Ivory Coast, 6.71 for Ecuador. They are fairly close and evenly matched here. For the Ecuadorian team, for Fafana in goal on a 6.5, I don't think he's put a foot wrong today, in all honesty. Although he hasn't had a lot to do. Most of Ecuador's shots haven't really challenged him. Conan on a 6.5. Not really come much across him, to be honest. Agbadou on a 6.8. He is one of the two centre-back pairings, him along with Singo, also on a 6.5, who have been very solid of a back, in my opinion. 6.9 for Dewey, one of the three yellow-carded players for the Ivory Coast. He's often made some good overlapping runs. A 6.3 for Torre. He's been nothing on his other winger on a 7.3 for Diomande. So far on track for me to be man of the match. He's made some amazing runs and dribbles and ball carries, and some great crosses as well. What more can you ask for a winger? 6.4 for the Sesko for Fafana. Don't think he's been necessarily great. He's often having to drop a bit deeper at times. Kessie on a 6.9, also got a yellow card. Not necessarily the most leadership performance in the world. He's just sort of been a bit average there. Wahi on a 6.6. Occasionally with some great chances. Arguably maybe even better than Nicolas Pepe, who's on a 6.5. For Ecuador, 7.1 is Galindez. He's had a couple of saves to make in total, and I think he's had to make one save is all he's had to make, but he made it well. Straight at him, to be fair. Franco on a 7.0. I don't think he's done that much in the game. I'm not entirely sure why he's been ranked that. I mean, maybe his heat map is kind of what implies he's been making a lot of forward runs. 6.7 for Ordonez. Again, don't think he's done a great deal. 5 defensive contributions. Kind of average. 6.5 for Pacho. Similar sort of position for him. 5 defensive contributions. They've sort of been the 2 centre-backs, really. I know they're playing with 3 centre-backs, but Yeboah, the number 9, has dropped slightly deeper than I thought he would be, on a 6.5. A bit too deep for me, and obviously had a fair few shots. He had 3 shots in total. Hit the woodwork with one of them, with crossbar, of course. but missed one wide. Hit the crossbar with another and missed the first one. But he's certainly been going forward at times. 6.7 from Moises Caicedo. Kind of what we expect. I actually expected a bit more, to be honest, for him. I think both in terms of hasn't necessarily progressed the ball up the field as much as we were expecting, but very much box-to-box role for the Chelsea player. Vite on a 7.1 rather. I've not really noticed him much in this game, but clearly SofaScore think for a midfielder he's done a decent enough job. He's even when I keep on mentioning number 15 and then completely forgetting what his name is. Okay, to be fair, he has been in some impressive positions, starting off some great attacks, actually. So, my mistake. 6.7 for Hinsepi. Had some decent runs, but at times have been a bit quiet. Maybe has been marked a bit off the ball. 6.6 rather for Plata. Not a lot, to be honest, in this opening half. I expect to see more from him in the second half. 6.8 for Valencia. Or 6.6 rather for Valencia. Again, not sure he's done a great much in this game. He's been involved verbally and a lot of leadership is being displayed by him. But in terms of actual quality in the ball, not a lot. Minder on a 6.2. That, I think, is exceptionally harsh. I think part of that is his two shots, one at woodwork and one was quite a bad miss. But he got himself in decent enough positions. It was a big chance missed, wasn't it? When he hit. He got that one which went just high and wide when he really should have challenged the goalkeeper in that position. There you are for the opening half of football. Quite tiring. I didn't realise how much energy it would necessarily be at this time. I'm going to pour myself a drink as a result. Finishing off this Iron Brew ice cream flavour. I don't know what your guys' opinions are of this if you are a Iron Brew fan like me. But it's an interesting flavour. It's been an interesting half. Diomande will be the one player at the moment who has really shone for me. And I think the BBC are saying the same. He has utilised space and his pace wonderfully well. He has always got a good eye as well for his teammates, but he's definitely got himself in dangerous positions. Maybe at times, just looking at some of the replays of his actions earlier in the decision making, but he is a threat. He's an absolute threat, and he's my man of the match at the moment. If he scores, I won't be surprised. But he needs his centre forward duo to get some better goal-mouth action. But some of the dribbles that he has done has been absolutely immense. You sometimes take a bit of time in making a decision. That's a great dribble. Great dribble. Some lots of good runs. Just looking at some of the stuff that they're saying on the BBC here. He's making, 35, 40-yard runs with the ball. You don't often see that. I don't think many people expected him to be the star man. I'm not going to lie, I don't know a lot about him. Should I find out who Diamande plays for? Jan Diamande. Only 19 years old. Made 10 appearances for the Ivory Coast before this point. And plays for RB Leipzig. I think he might get a big move over the summer, He's impressed a lot in this game. If we got him at Derby, I would be chuffed to bits. I doubt we do. He's the sort of talent who I'd love Derby to go after, though. Reminds me a bit of Bobby Clark. Got him from one of the Red Bull teams. Tonight, there's also Sweden versus Tunisia, much later on. Spain versus Cape Verde, I think, will be the next live watch along, which I'm doing tomorrow. I think it's kicking off at 6. Belgium versus Egypt's also potentially one I'll be doing. I'll have to see. And Saudi Arabia versus Uruguay. Again, I'll have to see. I don't know if I can do 3 live streams in one day. It does feel a bit excessive, doesn't it? Doing 3 almost back to back to back as well. But there's some exciting games. I mean, we are already quite late for this one as well. I mean, some of the games I missed, Scotland have won a game. They beat Haiti. It was only 1-0. I think it was not ultimately too unexpected, but they won the game. I don't know if they necessarily win up against either Morocco and Brazil. We watched that one on a live watch along last night. I was very, very happy with that game overall. Some of the other games that I have missed today, I will take a look at now. They had Netherlands versus Japan on early hours at the pub when that was happening. And that ended up in a 2-2 draw. It was always likely to be a draw. Germany beat Curacao 7-1, and Australia beat Turkey 2-0. Maybe a bit of an upset against Turkey, that result. Especially to me, this Australian team, I don't think is that good. But I think, let's face it, Scotland could have scored much more up against Haiti. The problem is, I think Scotland's best positions are both defensive and midfield. They don't have many good forward options. I think we were mentioning it last night in the stream with me and Jonathan. But why is there so many people standing on the walls? I don't know. Scotland obviously delighted being the first time at World Cup in quite a while now, isn't it? A very long time it feels like. Apparently, the Scottish players will be having a day off before going to Charlotte. Next game Scotland has is against Morocco and Brazil playing against Haiti. Scotland, save it while you last, being top of Group C. Because I really don't suspect they're going to be at the top of that group come the end of the group stage. There's so many teams in the World Cup, isn't there, this year? It's only just dawning on me that we're not even halfway through the group stage. We're only a quarter of the way through the group stage at the moment. And it feels like already there's been a lot of games going on. And England's not played at all. We have to wait pretty much till the last possible game. I'm going to not even be in England, I think, when England are playing. So I won't be able to do any of the live watch-alongs for the England games, unfortunately. Um, most of the games I'll be doing live watch-alongs from, because I'm doing a few tomorrow, but after that point, basically all the games I'll be doing is from a round of 32 then. So there'll be some nations I just won't even cover on this channel. I mean, let's face it, Curacao is one of them. But I have no idea. I don't know if I can name a single Curacaoian player. I don't even know how you say the country. So I don't think either side needs to change much, to be honest. I think they've both been very good defensively, maybe a bit more clinical on goal. That's what the BBC seems to be saying as well. If you were looking for the sort of tactical analysis, they're not too different. Is Anthony Valencia on the bench? Did I make that up? That it is the same Anthony Valencia? I think it might be a different Anthony Valencia. I think that I think I'm thinking of Antonio Valencia, who played from Ecuador between 2004 and 2019, making 99 appearances. I was gonna say is definitely not the former Manchester United player who played for the best part of a decade with Man United. It's some other Donny who plays for the Young Reds Antwerp. For Royal Antwerp in the Belgian Pro League. Not quite the same Valencia, is it? So I was wrong when I mentioned that player on the bench. But some players who potentially could come on for Ecuador, we'll have a look at some of them. Mohamed Kone is on the bench. He plays for Charleroi. Obviously, sorry, for the Ivory Coast. There's another Diamande on the bench as well. But Amad Diallo could be a huge option potentially to bring on. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes an appearance. Ange Yuan Boni. I wonder if Ange Yuan Boni has any relation to Wilfred Boni at all. He's also a forward. He plays for Inter Milan, actually. Not the greatest season for Inter Milan, it must be said. There doesn't seem to be any reference, but obviously Inter Milan winning the Serie A Coppa Italia double this season. So certainly a player coming in on form in terms of for it. Umar Diakite, I feel like I've heard of Diakite. Quite a young team actually. He's been on loan for Cercle Bruges. Maybe it's another Diakite again. There's a lot of young players actually in this Ivory Coast team, but there's also Jordi Caicedo on the bench. Estepinian will be the name that a lot of people know. Yamir Medina for Genk. Felix Torres playing for Internacional in Brazil. There's not necessarily the greatest. A lot of Belgian league players for some reason. Not quite sure what that's all about. SofaScore have now said that they're actually playing a 3-4-2-1 as opposed to a 3-4-3 for the Ecuadorian team. We are back underway. We're about 18 seconds in. I wasn't looking when we kicked off. But oh well, we're not not too late. Ecuador on the attack nice and early in the second half. A cross already coming in by Valencia. A flick over the top. It's going to be a cross, and that'll be behind for. Is it a corner or a goal kick? I don't know if it came off the post of a goalkeeper, but it was a Valencia chance here. He's all basically almost created by himself. He did a 1-2, a very techie 1-2 with Minda, who just sort of flicks the ball back over his head. I think it's hit the post, and it's gone for therefore a Ivory Coast corner. I don't know why you've not gone for a training save there. Fofana in goal for the Ivory Coast. Kanan, Agbadu, Singo, and Dewey for defensive four. Well, to be fair, I don't think they made a change either team. I can't be more to go through that whole lineup. Again, just say as we were, because they go way too quickly. What is it with the coverage on the World Cup of like having these players up for like 0.5 seconds? Ivory Coast with their first attack of a half here. Torre breaking free and has managed to get past his marker. Pepe helping out his teammates, coming close here. Ecuador eventually come away with it. Pepe needs to be far more central, in my opinion, there, and someone else there. Wing backs need to run up. But Hikape is running up the pitch here. It's a poor ball. It's gone straight through to Fofana. Wasn't really anywhere near. And that will be a foul. Surely it is. Torre ended up on the deck. Franco with just puts his body in the way. A lot of people have been impressed by Franco this half, the first half. So we'll see probably a bit more of him this half than last half in terms of just purely based on perspective because he's on the left-hand side. It's easier to see who's got the ball on your nearer side. And it was almost a great run forward by Torre, but Franco dealt with that quite nicely. That'll be a throw-in for the Ivory Coast. Oh, Wahi can't get it, and Ivory Coast will have it instead. Moises Caicedo in a 1-2 there. Not the most optimistic passing range in the world at the moment for Caicedo, which is maybe a little bit surprising. A long lifted ball forward, but headed away. The Ivory Coast are being rushed here by an onrushing MR Valencia. But Ivory Coast will come on a counter attack here. They're on the right hand side. Will the cross come in? The cross does come in. It's a shot, and it's again over. It was Diamonde, I think, with the shot there. He was very far in field. We've seen him quite far out wide so far this game, but he was this time the one receiving the cross and couldn't quite get it on target and keep under it. Don't mind that at all. It's with the Ecuadorian goalkeeper in the, I think it's probably afternoon at this point, I want to say, in Philadelphia. I can never quite figure out the time zones because they're all different in America as well. Attacking as a great cohesive unit are Ecuador at the moment as they're powering down on the right-hand side. No free kick, says the ref, to the delight of the Ivory Coast team, because that would have been in quite a dangerous position if that was the case. And they've won themselves a throw-in. in this position. I think it was Nicolas Pepe who did all the work in that regard. Progressive work amongst the midfield, but the possession's given away cheaply there. But great recovery from I can't quite tell you. I think was it number 8 potentially, who did the recovering run. Lost possession, but then regained it. So you're kind of atoning for your sins there. A burst of pace. We know the Ivory Coast are much faster in a head-to-head sprint, I would say. But Ecuador maybe has the better skill. Although at the moment, Ivory Coast keep on winning the turnovers of play. The Ivory Coast are coming forward. Out wide again with Diomande. Cross comes in and it's rattled the crossbar. Wow, he's got it. Pepe might keep this. It's not Pepe, rather. It's Torre tried to keep it alive, but just went out for a throw-in. But you don't mind that there. That was a fantastic opportunity. Diomande with a cross. But it's just off the crossbar from Wahi. It's still 0-0 in this Group D or E, Group E game rather, between the Ivory Coast and Ecuador. Not too surprising that these two teams are relatively even. I think both of these two teams are roughly similar on paper, I would suggest. Diomande coming again. This player excites me. He gets me off, the end of my seat. It's just one of them ones for an attacking wing play. You love to see it. A long-range shot, and I think that's deflected behind for a corner. It was Fofana, obviously the centre-back, or midfielder rather, Fofana, not the goalkeeper, with the shot. But very, very exciting play by Ivory Coast at times. Maybe it was just a bad shot because it's been awarded as a goal kick. That was quite high and wide, to be honest, for that to be awarded a goal kick. You thought it must have been, but apparently it wasn't. Triangle was beginning to emerge in Ecuador, yet to really find their feet in the second half. But they're coming now with Moises Caicedo in midfield. But it's again cut out quite effectively by the Ivory Coast. They've managed to meet every demand coming up against them so far, keeping a clean sheet and keeping their heads far above water at the moment. They're quite compact in the defence, in a sense. A bit too heavy touch on the ball there by Wahi. But the chances will come. It's just, can they get a shot actually on target? That is a real question. Most of the ones have been a bit looping, a bit high and wide at the moment, or rattling the crossbar. I think we've had 3 crossbar shots in one game. I don't think that's often happens at all. I very rarely see crossbar hits at all, to be honest. I can't remember the last time I did. And it's a attacking play by Ecuador here, and a great infield run by the number 9, who lays it on a plate out wide and drifts in, but it's well blocked. Still the pressure will come, but I think some great defensive work there. They've still got it, Ecuador, but the shot is dragged wide. Well worth the effort. It was Vite, I believe, who had the ultimate chance there, and a lot of the hard work done by him as well. Not too much. There's going to be a substitution. Angelo is coming on for Ecuador. The number 14 is coming off. It's a double substitute, actually, by the looks of it. for the Ecuadorian side, as the number 20 is also coming on for them. Oh no, that is just Anglo, rather. Ahmed Diallo is coming on for the Ivory Coast. We expected this might have been the case at half time. They're actually making a double substitution, but Diallo, Manchester United player, a great talent by all considerations. But you've also got Bonnie coming on as well, not Wilfred Bonnie, but it is a number 9 for the Ivory Coast, who has a surname of Bonnie. So we'll see if he can follow in his namesake's footsteps. Wahi and Torre are coming off for Bonnie and Diallo. I'm really surprised Ahmed Diallo did not start, to be honest. Not saying that Torre was a bad player. I just don't think I've ever heard of him. And Minder came off for Angelo. And Ivory Coast coming for an attack here. It's midfield as well. It's Fofana who was the one mainly doing it, but no shot really came off. But it's a great run by Fofana. Must be said. Some great runs from the midfield have been happening in this half. We didn't really have that much in the first half, but certainly do now. Diomande with a ball back to Pepe. And it's coming forward. Will be out wide this side. On the near side that is. With number 11. Bursts through. And shot comes and it's just wide. It's just so frustrating to watch because none of the shots are going on targets. They're all ending up wayward at the moment. Thought Diomande might have that there. He managed to burst through 3 players and then he's unleashed the shot and go way too high. Clearly doesn't possess the final quality, which is just so frustrating. That'll come with time. We looked at half time, only 19 years old. That sort of clinical finish in front of goal will come with time, I'm sure, and expertise. A long kick forward by Ecuador. Ball recovery time, 18 seconds for the Ivory Coast, for 15 seconds for Ecuador. If you ever wanted to know a weirder stat than that, there you go. This is some World Cup level stats for you. So slightly quicker Ecuador to have to recover the ball, which is a bit of a surprise. Diamande's got it. It's come out to Sesco Fofana, who looks like he's come down under a foul. The referee does not care in the slightest, and it will run all the way back to the other Fofana in goal. Ivory Coast will build up from the back here. The game has become very stretched in this second half. Ivory Coast, I think, certainly dominating this second half, relatively speaking, compared to Ecuador, which seemed to have a slight edge, I would say, in the first half. But not quite the case this half, as the Ivory Coast have it on the near side with Diomande, who seems to have switched to being a left winger, potentially so Ahmed Diallo plays on his favoured right. It's headed behind for a corner kick. An hour gone by already and it's 0-0. Not long until the hydration break, which is mad to think about. And corner is taken short. Fofana goes through the crowd and it is saved in the end by the Ecuadorian goalkeeper. But I don't mind that. He's taken a shot through a crowd and he's managed to challenge the goalkeeper as a result of it. Is that Moises Caicedo acting almost as a centre-back at this point? What is going on? Forward Ecuador come. It has calmed down. There was a brief spell when there was a lot of needless fouls. That has begun to sees, thankfully. The yellow cards have had the desired effect in that. If you keep the ball in here, he's been flagged out for a throw-in. It looked like he might have just kept it in there. Kuna will take this throw-in. Conan, rather. A substitute, however, is going to be before that point. Who? I'm not too sure because we're not actually got a picture of the substitutes at the moment. We just have an Ecuadorian fan living La Vida Loca. I think is the official terminology there. I don't know who came on, what the substitute was, and that's going to be a foul against Diamande. He can't believe it, the number 21. Neither can the Ecuadorian coach, who's absolutely... He must have done about 20 steps just pacing forward and backwards. He's just yelling at everyone. Double substitution for Ecuador. Preciado will be coming on, as will Perozo. Coming off is the number 21, who is Franco. Done a decent shift in today in the midfield, it must be said. I don't know who the other player coming off necessarily is. We would have potentially thought Estepinan coming on, but doesn't appear to be the case. Perozo is one of the ones who's come on, who will be picking up Bonnie, who's one of the other substitutes, but a substitute for the Ivory Coast, this one, for this set piece. Yeboah and Franco are the two which have gone off, and Preciado and Perozo have come on. I don't think Yeboah has done actually a great deal for Ecuador, so it kind of makes sense for that substitute to happen. The Ivory Coast actually have got a free kick, which Pepe will take. He goes short for Komodo, but Diamande can't keep it in, and it will go for a throw-in for Ordonez to take. Well, that's a poor throw-in there, and Fofana has managed to win it. No one's there. It's just gone through to the goalkeeper. Ecuador coming forward here. And it's his first sort of chance of seeing the number 17 for Ecuador in action. And he goes all the way back to the defence. So not immediately impressing, it must be said. As Ecuador's defence is applied pressure on and therefore forcing a mistake for an Ivory Coast throw-in there, because he's just having to boot him that out of play. So, is that man wearing a rainbow chicken hat? I have no idea. I think there is a bird, isn't there, on the Ecuadorian flag, so it may be that bird. Probably not a chicken. A throw for the Côte d'Ivoire. It's taken long. It's actually done really well there. And options are really available. A lot of space is beginning to be made. Komodo going forward to Diamande. He's just been impressive wherever he's been as Diamande. I really, really like this player. Shame he can't score or shoot on target, but his runs in the box and his crossing has been second to none in this game. Lifted ball forward, and it's cleared, but only half cleared. And it will go out for a throw into the Ivory Coast. And Singbo will be delighted with that. He was involved with that 50-50. Wasn't quite sure which way it ended up, but the referee has given it to the team in orange. We'll take it defensively, which is a bit of a risk because Valencia is surrounding him. He's gone out for a Ecuadorian throw-in. I said it was a bit of a risk going so defensive in that. Everyone's on a bit of a vibe right now. I think both teams could see themselves potentially winning. Not long to a hydration break. I think the next set piece will maybe be where that is. It's quite frankly almost ridiculous at this point having the hydration breaks, but needs much for the American advertisements. It's gone out for a throw in, which Coman will take. I thought it would have been a throw-in hydration break then, but no. All the way back to Fofana in goal. That's a really, really poor pass. It will result in a Ecuadorian throw-in, and Moises Caicedo has it. A great through ball if he can get there. A cross comes in, headed up. That's not a great header, I must say, by Singbo, but the danger passes somehow. Wasn't great. Bonnie with it now. A substitute. Using all the available options out on the right. It's in the penalty area here. Got to stay on your feet. Bonnie couldn't make the desired contact, and that will go out for a goal kick, I believe. There's a lot of great atmosphere at the moment, I'd suggest, in the crowds. Not a full sellout of a stadium, but decent enough. Goal kick it is. Just punted downfield. Match momentum this half, almost all of it has been the Ivory Coast. Very different compared to the first half, when we saw most of it going towards Ecuador, although it's still a very even game. Coman. Oh, it's not a great ball. And again, this number 17 will come forward, and it's gone to the number 19 with two substitutes linking up. A great save. Really gone straight to a goalkeeper. Fofana, to be honest. But he's challenged the goalkeeper. He has had quite some pace on the shot, to be fair. He has had to move a bit, to be fair, to get there. It was Pura who took the shot, and it's blocked or saved behind. And we will have a hydration break just before this corner. And that's sort of the final main bit of action of this first this last sort of quarter of the game. It is beginning to be quite tiring now at 1:34. I myself taking a hydration break. That's probably one of the best chances of the game, actually. As Plata, rather, number 19, who's not a substitute, I just didn't really notice him in the first game, had a great chance. Rightfully so, is Fofana celebrating that save. He has kept his team firmly into the game. You've got to keep switched on for the corner, though. It's a bit of a shame that there's a corner immediately after this hydration break, because people switch off. The Ivory Coast need to make sure that they're not switching off. Diamonde, for me, still man of the match. Not dripped in performance at all this half. Sometimes being switched on. Is that a thing which says noise? That is cringe and embarrassing. Imagine needing a screen at 70 minutes in to say noise. That's some American cringe all over it. Make some noise. Awful. Absolutely awful. They should be able to generate their own atmosphere. Why is the camera panning to the audience from behind, making everyone turn around? There's so many odd things going on here. You need to be switched on for this set piece, both teams. It's already must be said. Surely that's really difficult to see out of that hat. It also, well, it's definitely evening now. It's getting dark in America. Won't be long till it's actually getting light here in Britain. Wait, is it a goal kick? I was determined it was a corner. It must not have been kept in play by the second phase. I thought it was destined to be a corner. That Ecuador have it in the centre circle. A lovely hit and go platter with it, but it will be hit behind for a throw in for Ecuador in a very dangerous position with a long throw here. How was that given as a corner? It was definitely a throw in. No, we got given a corner either way. Platter will whip this in. Cross comes in, headed away. Can't even get past the first man, really. Not great. Another set piece and a chance for a counter attack for Ecuador. And that will be a yellow card because Bonnie was completely shoved. He would have been away in that position and absolutely warranted. It's the substitute number 25 who has been the player penalised. That will be Perozo with the yellow. Ivory Coast then have it. Jackson Perozo in the book. Well, that's not a great return to kimono. Oh, come on. As it is with the Ecuadorian defence and go all the way back to their goalkeeper. Don't we love it when that happens? Hoof downfield. Can't get past the centre-back Singbo, though, who's got quite a towering presence to him, it must be said. It's back with Singbo now, actually. He's got he's got plenty of space in front of him and options. It's gone out wide. And he takes the return to Singbo. So maybe not the greatest of options he chose. At the halfway line, a great lifted ball there. Chance for Bonnie to get a cross in. It's loose. That's a pass back, surely. No, says the ref. That looked like a pass back to me, mate. That definitely looked like a pass back to me. Can't believe that. And neither can any of the Ivory Coast players. I've not seen a pass back though given for a while. I did see a couple of ones at non-league, but certainly at this level. 75 minutes in, 0-0. Are we going to see a breakthrough in this game? I struggle to see it, to be honest. There's not been a lot of shots on target. It's been the biggest issue. There's some plenty great attacking phases of play. Cross comes in from a number 17. It's lifted up and cleared convincingly this time by the Ivory Coast, but they'll come again, Ecuador. Finally growing a bit since they've made that double substitution. They're for some reason going all the way back to the defence and in their own half. Ridiculous, quite frankly. you're in a great position. You've gone all the way back to your own half. And we'll try and switch for play. And we'll go out for a throw-in in their favour, which I'll take quickly. To no avail. A quick interchange of play. There's the other substitute, who I can't remember what it is, but he's blonde. It'll be a goal kick. It's for number 20, if you're interested in the guy who's going forward. I just can't remember his name at the moment. A substitute for both teams at the moment. A double substitution, actually, for the Ivory Coast. So we're having 3 subs here. Nicolas Pepe's days over, as is Fofana, the midfielder. So we no longer got 2 Fofanas on the pitch, at least. Ulay and Sangari are coming on. Ulay! I really hope they do that for every single time he has the touch. Rodriguez, a very generic name in the southern continent of America, or South America, we'll just go with. Has come on for Valencia. It's leg given away, but Rodriguez is it. He's the one who's coming on at number 11. Kevin Rodriguez, I believe. We mentioned he might come on at half time. It was one of the ones who looked and thought maybe. Fofana, the one still on the pitch, the goalkeeper goes long from a goal kick. It's in the midfield with the Ivory Coast. Held up quite well there, but ultimately to nothing. That's great interception. Some great interceptions all round, actually, I'd say, from the Ivory Coast. Somehow still have it. Can't really fault their display at the moment. It's just lacking goals. That'll be a free kick. There's already a bit of confrontation and a hug. You'd love to see it. As soon as the referee came over and decided to hug, it's quite funny, because it definitely looked like there was going to be a bit of needle in that. So now's first action is being fouled. He's literally just come on. Can't complain though, and now he's got it now. Keeps on receiving it back. Some wonderful diagonals going on. Oh. Still managed to get it though. Good chance here. Good through ball there. Oh, it's just kept the ball for too long. And the Ecuadorian team can come away with it. Handball has been given against an Ivory Coast player. Again, I think it was a now, actually. This Gonzalo Plata shot, by the way, 95 kilometers per hour, which was saved by Fofana. Oh, it wasn't a goal, but probably one of the most convincing shots of this game. Ecuador have it in defence. About 10 minutes left to go, and it's still goalless in this game. Not the most entertaining one in terms of goal factors, but certainly, if you like seeing attacking football, then or good interceptions, both teams have had greatness in that department. But if you're here for the goals, probably would have switched off about 80 minutes ago. Ecuador got it now. A long lifted ball up on the wings, but it's intercepted quite nicely. That's surely a foul. That's a horrific tackle by Casado. I'm not sure what Casado was expecting to happen there. To be fair, the replay does make it look like Casado hasn't actually done much wrong. maybe feel a bit hard done by there. Ivory Coast have it. It's all the way back with Fafana at the moment. Surely they've got to punt forward at some point. They've got a lot of aerial talent, to be fair. They've won a lot of their aerial duels of the Ivory Coast. They've lost possession there in midfield as a tumble was taken by Singabo. I'm trying to figure out who that is on the screen. No idea. I don't really know many people who are celebrities, in all honesty. Not my forte. A long lifted ball forward. But Ecuador have managed to keep alive here, actually. It comes across. No one was ever going to be able to get to that ball, though. And it's bowled out. A quick counter-attack. Ibao coming out for the number 11, who we've highlighted so much this game. Goes back to Ibao, who's had a very impressive so far since he's come on the pitch, to be honest. Midfielder just content to keep the ball at the moment. The Ivory Coast are now bursting forward. Giovanni comes again. He's skipping past players. 1-2, 1. Oh, the number 3 could have done so much better there. It was such a great inviting opportunity. Oh, he's done a great job again, and that potentially should be a foul. But he stays on his feet, does Diabani. Again, potentially he's fouled there. But then there's just... One can't... Oh, no. It definitely came off him last, but... It's unfortunate because there was actually a touch by an Ecuadorian defender which was taken away from him when he took the touch. Have they given it as a corner? They've actually given it to the corner at the end. Number 4 for Ecuador is currently injured. He's having to go off the pitch. No, it's going to be a goal kick. They were just all lining up for some reason. Is that? I'm trying to figure out who it is who's injured. It's for number 4. 83 minutes, almost 84 minutes in, still goalless. I think if anyone scores a goal in this, they've won the game at this point. And I think Ivory Coast are far more likely to do so. But I actually think a point does benefit both teams far more than somebody winning. Because it means that probably both qualify for the next round. Because Curacao is a bit of a free hit, let's be honest. Some lovely football being played, it must be said, at times. That'll be a free kick for the Ivory Coast in sort of defensive midfield position. And it's gone off to the far right-hand side. And a free throw-in that will be taken by Ecuador. Very animated coach for both teams, actually. Dunez has come back on. 5 minutes left to go of ordinary time. Will we see a breakthrough? Thrown by Ecuador's paw, but they somehow come away with it here. That's got to be a free kick, and it is. Angelo has been put on the deck. A couple of good moves from him so far in this game, it must be said. It was just no need to put your hands out there. He knows what he's doing. Do he there? He knows it's a foul, but I think he's on a yellow card. He can't be risking too much, to be honest, especially in positions like that. Moises Caicedo to take this free kick. This is a great opportunity. It's about in line with the penalty area. The edge of the penalty area. On the far left-hand side. Moises Caicedo is the only player standing over it. A one-player wall. There'll be a bunch of blue shirts bursting in. And in swing it will be. It comes in. Headed up and over the crossbar. They've been giving us a corner. I swear Ordonez was the one who headed that over. Ordonez is breaking. Oh, I think it's come off the back of Coman. So it will be a throw in for Ecuador. Angelo to take the substitute. Another set piece delivery. Come on. I don't know. We'll have to pay attention. In swinger coming here, I suspect. It is. It's a great chance, but it's blocked. And just that's going to be a goal kick. Great use of his body, Singbo. He's just been big and blocked off the run. And not done anything illegal in the process. Great bit of centre-back defensive work by Singbo there. Don't mind that. I don't know what the referee's doing now. He's having a word with Dewey, I believe. It's a substitute. Oh, Dewey's meant to be going off for Kusanu. I feel like Ivory Coast made tons of substitutes in this one, but Dewey's off. I mean, you need to be careful, to be honest. Kusanu's coming on. There's a possibility he might have been sent off, you see. He was on a yellow already, I think. Progressing forward on this near-hand side, but Ivory Coast deal with that fine. That will be... I thought that would have been destined for a free kick. It's going to be a throw-in for the Ivory Coast instead. Not convinced about that. Bonnie takes the throw-in. Headed away by the Ecuadorian team. We'll have a chance to break here, but no one's in the world going to have a pace to be able to deal with that. And Singbo has a chance here. He's running down. He's got the legs. Angelo is behind him. The cross comes in, and it's a goal. I think it's Diabani actually with the assist. He has been so far man of the match, and that's kind of a reason why, as Ivory Coast, literally seconds before stoppage time, score a breakthrough in this goal with a break for deadlock as it is. And everybody is celebrating. It's a fantastic goal. And what more can be said? I think it's Ebao who was the one who was on the end of it, who I was quite impressed with since he's come on, to be honest. He looks quite young. A lot of this Ivory Coast team is quite young, to be fair, in general. Was that Amadiano even, potentially? A great surging wrong forward by Diamani. And it is Diallo who got the goal. It's just one-touch football, and it's just not knocked it home. The Manchester United player will be delighted with that finish. And that's what they lacked, a bit of composure in front of goal Amad Diallo, who was a surprise, didn't start, to be honest. He has broken the deadlock. And is there any surprise? He's definitely got himself in contention to be a starter, I think, potentially in the next game due to that goal. There's been a lot of haters for Amad Diallo this season. Some of the criticism has been fair, but certainly can't blame him in this. So, the wonder kid Diallo is the difference between these two teams right now. And Ecuador will take this the kick-off all the way back to their goalkeeper. They are sending everyone forward now. There's 7 minutes of added time, although we've already played a minute and a half of it. No penalty, says the ref. It didn't look like it, to be honestly. That will be a free kick, though, for the Ivory Coast, as Casado was the one who gave away the free kick up against Ibao. Or Ibor. He's just pulled him back and pushed him over. No need for it at all. No need for that at all, Casado. Ibao was such a great player in this game. He's been quite impressive since he's come on as well. Actually, I would say that Ivory Coast have probably got the better substitutions, have made the game tip in their balance in their favour, to be honest. He's struggling a bit there, but the number 7, Kusano, did it, but that will be blocked off. It's for number 20, isn't it? Angelo, who's blocked off Singbo, and so it will be a free kick to the Ivory Coast. They'll take their sweet time over this because there's only 4 minutes left. Might have been Singbo, to be honest, with the cross. I'll have to see at the end, but both players been an impressive wing back run. If that was a centre back cross, that would have been quite something. Long lifted ball forward. Ibao can't quite get on it, and Ecuador are attacking, but they can't come away with it yet again. Too many loose balls that are just not great quality by Ecuador. Has lost them this game in total, I would say. Coleman's come in here. He's gone in field, and it's another shot, but straight at the goalkeeper, this one. Diallo saw his name in the headlines for having a brace. Not quite. 3 minutes left to go. Can the Ivory Coast hold on? A Ecuadorian attack by Moises Casado, no less, to Angelo, who is instantly surrounded. And there has to be a switch of play going on. Number 17 comes with a cross. It's flicked on behind by Singbo for a corner. Great defensive work there. He hadn't done that header. There was a free opportunity for the man at the back stick. One last roll of the dice by Ecuador. A chance here from a corner. And who else will take it but the former Brighton and current Chelsea man himself, Moises Casado? An outswinger potentially. Oh no, it goes in. And he'll go out for another corner. The pressure's on. It really is for Ecuador here. It would be a huge upset if they lost this game. And a huge blow to their hopes for qualifying for the next round as well. And they can break, can the Ivory Coast. That'll be a great ball forward. Can he get there for number 11? There's a flipping heck. That's that player for Ecuador doing all sorts of risky moves and somehow seen at least that initial counter-attack abated. But Ivory Coast do have it in the final minute. Just don't lose possession is essentially all you'll be saying at this point in time. And then you've won the game. They've gone all the way back to their goalkeeper, who surely just boot it forward. Absolutely does. Never in danger. It's flicked on. Casado in midfield. Anglo would make this run. And great bodywork by Singbo, who will just shepherd the ball to his goalkeeper. And actually has the ball right now. Hits the ball forward. He's managed to get it to Bonnie. One of the substitutes, a great many substitutes in this game. Amad Diallo, who's also a substitute, managed to skip away from his defender. He's coming in. He's already on one goal. He's got a bit of cheeky footwork, and it goes to Ibao, who's just absolutely skied that over the bar. Well, that will pretty much confirm the end of the game. A long ball forward for Ecuador, headed away. Surely that's time, ref. Apparently not. Still in midfield. That will be a free kick. Advantage, says the referee. That's fair enough in that position. Angelo coming forward. Flicked on. There's a still chance right now. That is great defensive work by my number 7, who I Kosanov or something. How much longer is the goalkeeper is asking? We are in the 97th minute, well, almost 98th minute here, and it is a corner to Ecuador. Real last minute stuff it. You got to be piling on your goalkeeper in this position, surely. Moises Casado to take it. Come on, where's the Ecuadorian goalkeeper? We don't see that anymore, do we? Look, I'd be having every single person up for this corner. And cross comes in. All a bit of nonsense. No penalty, says the ref. He has got his finger in his ear. He is looking at a potential VAR decision. No penalty, though, has been awarded. Absolutely vindicated decision. Absolutely. And that will be full time. Great result for the Ivory Coast. Has been by far the better team, in my opinion, in this game. Winning the duels, both aerially and also on the ground. Wasn't great in front of goal until Amad Diallo did come on and, call as you like, slotted it home. He's got to start in the next game, I'll have to say. Let's go through the SofaScore rankings. It is already gone 2 o'clock. So 7.06 for Ivory Coast. How a goal shoots up ratings for this. Fofana on a 6.7 hasn't really had a lot to do, to be honest. And what he's he's done great. Conan on a 7.2, much improved in the second half for me. Did some great wing-back work. 7.6 for Agbadou. When needed, has put his body on the line. Looking at some of them stats will be absolutely amazing, actually, in terms of 14 defensive contributions in total, 8 clearances. What a man. 7.9 for Singbo. Second best player on the pitch. Obviously, with that assist, he has claimed, well, third best player, to be honest. But yeah, Singbo with the assist, which I wrongly claimed it was Diamande, but, 10 defensive contributions, won all 4 of his aerial duels. Mr. Maestro, number 5 at the back himself. Great work, Singo. Dewey on a 7.2. I thought it was quite decent, to be honest. Actually, in an attacking sense, did quite a lot of strong output down on that sort of wing play as well. 5 defensive contributions. 6.3 for Bazumana Torre. Yeah, he's not starting next game. Amad Diallo definitely will be replacing him, in my opinion, for the next game. I'd be shocked if that wasn't the case after the performance Diallo put on. 6.6 for Seko Fofana. Thought he was decent enough, Fofana, especially as that game sort of went on within the second half. He had a much improved second half where he started doing some great attacking runs, to be honest, from midfield. Kessie on a 7.2. I thought he had a bit of a quieter of a second half. Thought he was a bit more involved in the first half, but he properly sprayed balls all over the place. Man of the match, what can I say? Diamande, give yourself a round of applause. 8.2. He was prolific on both wings. You can't say much more than just wow. 1 big chance created, 5 key passes. I don't think I've ever seen 5 key passes. 1 out of the 3 crosses were accurate. In terms of dribbling, this is the stats which we could probably look at. 80 touches, 4 out of the 6 dribbles he did was successful. Total carrying distance, 280.5 meters. Only lost possession 17 times. Was fouled twice. Had 25 carries, 11 of them were progressive. Progressive carrying distance, 182.1 meters. His longest one, 37.4 meters. And his total progression was 221.6 meters. Some incredible work by Diamande. Great winger, which got you on the end of his seat. Wahi on a 6.4. Don't think was necessarily the greatest option. He was a bit quiet this game, to be honest. He had 2 shots, 1 on target and 1 able woodwork. 2 big chances missed, though. 6.7 for Nicolas Pepe. I was kind of expecting him to have a bit of a better game. He had a couple of shots, both of them blocked, but certainly could have done a bit better in my mind. From the bench, Amad Diallo, 8.1, scored the only goal of the game. Can't say much more than that. Came on 56th minute. Got to be starting in the next game for me, 100%. Couple of shots. His XG was 0.2, by the way. He's well overperformed his XG to get it on goal. 2 shots on target. What a player. Bonnie on a 6.4. Didn't do a great deal, to be honest. He had a chance to make an impact, but I don't think he really did, I'm going to be honest. He rarely had the ball. Sangari on a 6.9. Again, someone who didn't have much of a ball, in all honesty. Ule on a 7.1. I didn't notice him, so I don't know where they're getting this from. I think he was much more defensive. I think he was brought on to shore up the defensive solidity, which he did. He had 3 defensive contributions, backs against the wall like stuff. 6.7 for Costanu. I thought he did quite well at times. Only 1 defensive contribution, but it was a vital one. For Ecuador on a 6.6 overall. 7.0 for Galindez. Well, I don't think he had to do that much. Oh, he had 3 saves in total. So maybe I'm being a bit unkind on him there. 7.1 for Franco. It was odd when he came off, to be honest, for Perozo. I was a bit surprised about that because I thought his defensive acumen was great. Maybe because I wanted to go a bit further forward. But 6 defensive contributions in total. Can't sniff at that. Ordonez on a 6.8. Hadn't done a lot, to be honest. He did a bit of tracking forward towards the end of the game. 11 defensive contributions, though. Not to be sniffed at all. But you kind of expect that from your centre-back, having had a sustained period of attacking the second half, which was very much more in Ecuador's favour, against Ecuador in the second half, rather, in Ivory Coast's favour. 6.5 for Pacho. He had 8 defensive contributions. He was very much a strong player in the defence. 3 out of 3 aerial duels won, 9 recoveries, 5 clearances for Willian Pacho, who, yeah, I thought decent performance all round from the lad, to be honest. For Hincapi, 6.5. He sort of drifted out of the game, to be honest, in the second half. In the first half, he was all right, but second half, completely absent. Didn't notice him at all. 6.5 for Yeboah. Don't think he had the greatest game in the world, let's be honest with ourselves here. They kept on switching formation, which didn't necessarily help him out because he had to go slightly deeper at times. His shooting was abysmal. He had 3 shots and 1 hit with woodwork. None of them were on target. And you don't really want that from your number 9. Moises Caicedo, 7.1. A lot went through him, as you'd expect. Very box-to-box making role. He had 55 out of 60 passes he made were accurate. Was sort of at just keeping things ticking on in midfield, as was Vite on a 7.4. In fact, I'd argue Vite was doing so even more, who had 68 out of 75 passes accurate. So yeah, he definitely was viewed as a great player in that one. Minder on a 6.2, who came off just before the hour mark for Anglo. He had quite a quiet game, Minder. He had that sort of big miss, I think it's fair to say, and that was about all he did. 6.6 for Plata. Definitely grew into the game the second half. I thought he had a much better second half than first half, although, of course, he only had 1 shot and one of them on target. Not what you want from your centre forward at all. 6.6 for Valencia. A bit of a similar situation. Far too quiet. Hit the post, but that was about it. Didn't really challenge the goalkeeper. Anglo on a 6.4. Yeah, that's a bit unfair. I think he had some quite a fair few progressive runs there. How many? We'll look at the progressive runs, shall we? Because I thought he had a decent progressive run there at one point. He had 3 carries. Maybe I'm being a bit generous there. 6.1 for Perozzo. Don't remember doing anything. He got a yellow, other than a yellow card. Preciado, I definitely don't remember doing anything. Or Kevin Rodriguez, who were also both on a 6.1. Thank you very much for watching. I'm desperately needing to go to bed. It is 2:15 UK time here. I'm knackered. I've had a busy day. I'll see you all for a live watch along tomorrow at some point. But please subscribe if you're new around here. 1 subscriber is 1 caffeinated drink and me staying up for another live stream at some point. But yes, I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye for now.